everybody, welcome to Elisa's art room. Today we're going to be doing the painting, gosh I can't even talk, on this block of wood. We are going to do a little house finch. Hopefully y'all can find me. I don't know what is up with Facebook. I made an event, but the event says it's Thursday at 5 a.m. and it's not. I put today at 9 and it won't put the right time in there. So I didn't go live on the event because I was worried it was gonna work weird. So I just went live on my page. Hopefully it's fine. I was worried that Facebook might come in later and take it down, or it might not let me because it thinks it's tomorrow. And I'm like, okay, I don't know. So that's why I'm just straight live on my page instead of in the event. I'm gonna find you guys and pull up chat. Hopefully sound is okay. Should be. Y'all let me know. Let's see if I can find you. I'm flustered. All right, where is it? There it is. All right, we got Lori and we got Nancy. Can y'all hear me okay? Somebody tell me. I assume you can, but I could be just talking to myself. Oh, goodness. So, nobody's saying anything. All right, I'm just going to try to listen on my phone. Oh, thank you, Lori. It finally came through. My delay is so bad. All right, guys. So, this little painting, this is a photograph by Roy Herron, and I know it's backwards. I'm sorry, I can't flip it because it's another glitch. There's so many glitches. I turned that down. It didn't work. There's so many glitches right now. And I can't flip the screen until I take it up top. And now the events aren't working right. So I don't know. I have no idea. Anyway, so Roy was nice enough to give me permission to paint his photograph, and we're going to try that on. I thought it would be funny to put it on this little block of wood because it looks like a house, and it's a little house finch. Why not? I haven't painted in a while, guys. It's been over a year. Do you believe that? A year. So hopefully I can paint. I'm sure I can, but it is definitely feeling a little off for sure. Even just the setup, because it's a very different setup for me than my junk journaling. Everything's different, so I had to like pull all my stuff away and change it to painting. So anyway, we're gonna try to paint this little guy. It's small. It's not real big. It's like 3 by 6. It's small. It's the typical ones that we use for tags when we're doing stenciling and stuff, but it was what I had, and I'm trying to cut down on buying supplies because I'm not making enough, and taxes did not go well this year. So anyway, let's go ahead and get this camera pulled up top so we can get started. Thank you, Nancy. I'm sure we'll be fine. Focus. Alrighty. I know I'm pretty far back. I got to figure out exactly where I need to be so y'all can see me paint and see a little bit of this board. Just a little bit closer. We'll try there. And then I'll zoom as needed. So, put that up there for Roy. I think is it in screen? Oh, it's not even in screen. I don't guess it matters. As long as I mention him, he doesn't care. So I did some line art from the photo. I always do line art for these tutorials. Can I draw it myself? Sure, I can. It takes me longer, and I really just am too lazy. But I can. I have in the past. I just don't like to anymore. I'd rather just get to painting. So that's why I do it this way. This is on some tracing paper. So first I put this into a photo program, traced it, took the line art, put tracing paper over it, trace that. And that's how I get this piece for putting it onto our image. Now, if you guys are doing these type of things and you are using a reference, keep in mind photo paper and regular paper are very different, and your colors are not going to be the same. Typically for a reference, I will typically use just my iPad. But if I have to print it, like for these lives, I try to print it on photo paper. My photo paper did not want to go through my printer right. It kept cutting off half of it. It's like it wouldn't feed, so it would start printing late. I finally gave up after 3 tries. But I did get a little bitty section so I can at least see the real color. So I have this little teeny piece that actually I got printed, so you can see the difference in the color. It's quite a difference, so it'll at least give me a reference that is more realistic to the actual color, even if it's not the whole picture. So that's what that is. So we're going to go ahead. I have primed this wood with some gesso. You're supposed to put gesso on 24 hours in advance before you start painting. So I actually did it last night, so it hasn't been quite 24 hours, but I'm not real worried about it. But I just used Liquitex gesso. Sometimes I tint it. I didn't for this one because I think I'm just going to do this kind of a muted background for this. I thought about doing a green background, but I think I'm just going to stick with this kind of a muted. It'll be a little different than this, but something like that. So I just did white. And I haven't done anything with the back. I will paint it after I'm done, because typically what I do is I match a color from the front on the sides, and then I do either a solid black or a solid white on the back, and then I sign it and stuff. So that's typically what I do. But I do it after, just because it's easier. I can show you one here. I'll show you one. So like this little chickadee, or not, I don't think it's a chick. I think it's actually a winter tit is what they call them. A willow tit, that's what it is. But then I painted it just gray around it and then signed the back. So that's how I do that typically. Just for those who are new watching, I know I got a few new people. Most of you already know all this, but this is a glass mat. Let me zoom back out for a second. This is a glass mat I use for my palette. It is by New Wave. I got it off of Amazon. And it's just glass with a gray paint on the back, basically. But it's a tempered glass. Don't go using frames or frame glass or anything like that, because that's dangerous. Use only a tempered glass if you're using glass, guys. But I do prefer a glass mat palette for painting. It's better. I have 3 waters. I keep 1 water clean, and then a wash water, and then a second wash water, so that I always have something clean to pull from, and I have really like thorough cleaning. Because if you just keep using your dirty one, it sooner or later it's going to get too dirty to do anything. So by using the two, it helps. And then I just have a microfiber in there and some other stuff. Other things I may or may not use. I don't know if I'm going to use it this time. We'll see. I've got these makeup brushes I use sometimes for the background. They're just Echo Tools makeup brushes. I have several sizes if I can find them, because honestly I haven't used them in so long. I don't know where anything is. I think I only see these big ones right now, but I might use it. I don't know. I haven't decided what I'm going to do with the background, but it makes a nice soft background. Anyway, yeah, I don't even see my others. I've got like 3 sizes of those, but they're floating around here somewhere. I don't know where. Anyway, so that's where we're at. We've got this. We're going to transfer this onto here after we do our background. Okay? So first we got to do our background. And like I said, I think I'm going to go with this kind of a gray look. I think it'll be okay. It's not real exciting or anything, but I might, you know, add a little more color to it. I don't know. So let's see. We definitely need some white. So I'm using Liquitex today. I'm using basics and heavy bodies, depending on the color. I have basics for things I use a lot of, like my whites, my this Hooker's Grain, my burnt siennas. These colors I tend to use the basics because I tend to go through a lot of them. And then I've got the heavy body for the more vibrant colors that I don't use as much of. And that's just a choice thing. The heavy body is more professional. The basics are considered student grade. I cannot tell a difference. I've never noticed the difference on how they work or anything. They both work great, so it's fine. So we're going to start by making a mess. Put a little bit of paint down. I don't know how much I'll need. We'll try that. Out of practice. All right, clean off my finger. And let's see, gray, black. There's a little brown in there. Let's try some, maybe raw umber. Raw umber, do I have that? I do have some raw umber. This one's golden though. There's nothing wrong with golden paint, guys, but I hate their tubes. Their tubes are incredibly difficult to open. I always fight with them. They just, I don't know. They're just hard to open. But paint's fine. Just put a little bit of raw umber down there. I like that. It's not quite as warm as the like burnt umber or the burnt sienna or any of that. Let's see what that looks like. I'll just try a layer with that and see what it looks like. I'm going to spray everything with this little mister bottle. I don't know if I'm going to spray this or not. Yeah, I might. I'm going to spray this too. And I have my palette knife for mixing. So we're just going to mix some white, a little bit of this raw umber. We're going to get kind of a very, very light grayish color. Got kind of a brown tint to it. And like I said, it's more cool than it is warm. Just going to make up a little bit of that. And we're just going to kind of make a muted background on here. So to do this, let me find my paintbrush. What's mine? I don't even know, guys. I'll figure it out as I go. Everything is so different because I haven't done it in so long. Maybe just this I'll try this. So I just wet that. I'm just going to put some paint on here. I'll put this darker color on the edges. And a little of this lighter color on the inside. I'm just kind of blobbing it. That's a very technical term, blob. I'm just kind of blobbing it. Okay, and then what I'm going to do is take this and very lightly go in a circular kind of motion, just dusting it so slightly over the top. Until I get it to look how I want it and it's somewhat smooth. Okay? I'll show you that up close because I know I'm too far away again. Let me zoom back in. Oh, I'm really far over. Let me see if I can scooch that way. But I'll pull this up. Okay, so it's just like a muted, mottled background, which is similar. This is more vignetted. I'm sure he edited this. And he's got like some reds in there and stuff, but I don't know if that was intentional. Funny story. Well, it's not funny, but Roy happens to be colorblind. So when he does edit his photos, sometimes he's not sure what he's getting. And there's been times where I've had to go like, well, that's an interesting color. You know, because it'll be like a bluebird that's really purple or something, but not all the time. So this, I'm just going to wet just the tips of it. So all I'm going to do, see if I can do this and not drip it on my thing. So you just wet only the tips. Okay. And then get yourself your microfiber or something, some sort of a rag or a paper towel. And I'm just going to clean off that. That way, if I need to use it again, it is dry and ready to go. If you wet the whole brush, it'll be too wet and you'll have to have several brushes. And some people I follow that use the same method, they do just have several. And I have two, but I don't have a lot of this size. Okay, but it's pretty much dry now. And clean. So there's that. I'm going to blow this dry so that it's set. I'll wash out this paintbrush because I don't know what I'm going to do next. So we'll just wash that out. And move this because it's inkjet, and if I get water on it, it will be all messed up. So let me grab my blow dryer. I have the Tim Holtz one now too. I suppose I could use it. I don't know. I like my blow dryer. So that's my cold blast. It's just where you turn your blow dryer to cool. And I do that last so that it's not hot. Because if your surface is hot and you go to put more paint on it, it's going to dry too fast. And it will cause you issues. Alright, so I have to decide at this point, does this look like something I can work with? Do I need to do anything else to it? Honestly, it's not bad. Just trying to picture this little guy on top of that. It's not bad. I'm debating if I want any more color. I don't really feel like I need any more color. I'm probably just going to leave it like that. It's got a little bit of a spot right here it's not quite as smooth as I would like. So I think I'll do one more coat just to kind of even everything out as far as covering the wood thoroughly. So let's do that. We'll do one more coat and hopefully I won't mess it up. Sometimes that happens. Sometimes I do a second coat and then I mess the whole thing up. And then I'm stuck in a vicious cycle. So we're going to start with the white, just in the middle. Add some of this darker color back on the outside. Just a little into it so it's not plain. Get this area real good where I thought it needed more. And I might just put a little tiny bit of darker here and there. I need more water. It dries so fast. You don't want it to dry before you get your little brush out, because if it dries, you will be in trouble. And it won't blend. I usually try to go from light to dark. We'll see if this is going to work. I don't know. Not quite. Not quite what I want, so I'm going to leave that. I think it's not going to dry. I think I needed more paint. If you don't have enough paint on there, it dries too darn fast, and then you just can't get it to blend quick enough. So let me mix up some more of this color. Get some more paint on or water on my palette. I didn't wet it that time. I'm going to actually wet it. It's going to make spots by wetting it, but that's okay because I'm going to put more paint on it. All right, let's try this again. We'll try one more time. Hopefully that is enough. It won't be super dark on the edges though. I don't really care how dark it is. It doesn't have to be super dark. All right, let's try that. And I'll wipe that because it got a little too wet. Oops, don't move on me. Now I'm almost back to pure white. Which I guess is alright if I just go with that. What do you think? Should I keep it there? No, I really need more color, don't I? See, this is what I mean. Sometimes it just doesn't go as you plan. I'm going to clean this off again. I'm dipping this brush away from y'all, so cause I don't want to do it over this, because if it gets water on it, it definitely messes it up. Alright, so maybe I should have left it the first time, but we're going to do one more time, and hopefully it works. Just rolled across my whole table, making a mess. All right, so I think I need more raw umber. That's the problem. Let's get a little more dark on those edges, and then I'll hopefully get it right this time, and we'll call it quits. Sometimes I can get so hung up on my backgrounds that honestly it's not necessarily a great thing. You don't want to get so hung up on it that it keeps you from advancing. So let's just get some more dark in here. The raw umber is very, very dry. It's, for one thing, it's old. There. Just didn't want to mix. All right, let's try this again. I already got dark on my brush, so we're just going to go with the dark. I'm going to spritz it. I hate to do it, but if I don't, it's going to dry. All right, we'll try some darks here, a little bit there, and then lighter. I think this will work. I hope. I really want that kind of vignette going on. I think it looks pretty. Trying to get only white. You have to cover it. If you don't cover it, it will not work. Okay, let's try that. Dry enough? I think so. You have to use a dry mop brush. If you don't have a dry mop brush, it doesn't work either. Got a little bit of a water spot there. Maybe it'll be okay. Some of this will obviously be covered by the little birdie. It's not too bad. All right. I think that'll be okay. I think it's light enough. He's red. He's mostly red and a pretty dark brown on the edges, so I think it'll be okay. All right, just the ends. I don't get the whole thing wet until I actually take it to the sink to wash it. Because I try not to get too much paint down into the ferrule of these. All right, that's good. Push that out, and then I'll dry that, and we'll be ready to put our image on there. I am not 100% sure how long this painting will take me, because like I said, I haven't painted it in a year. So I have no idea where my speed's at, you know? Am I fast? Am I slow? I just don't know. So I think this will be okay. It's not absolutely perfect, but I think it's okay. It's interesting. And that's all I really care. Is it interesting? Does it look like a believable, muted, out of focus background? Yes. I have 3 layers on here, so I want to make sure it's dry. Let's see how that feels. All right, I think it's good. Doesn't feel overly tacky. I think we're good. All right, so I'm gonna clean off my mat, my palette. Getting paint on my mat for the first time. And I could have put paper down, but honestly, I'd rather just deal with cleaning it because I don't like dealing with paper. A little bit of alcohol. We'll take that right off. Now this, you just usually spritz it and wipe it down with a paper towel. Or if you're not as messy of a painter as I am, you can scrape it off after you're completely done. I'm looking for my paper towels. There we are. Oops, dropping everything. Alright, so let's just clean this off, mostly because I need the space. So just some water. Definitely started drying already. Alright, am I back? Sorry, it was trying to reconnect for some reason. Don't know why. Y'all back? Alright, let me just... I'll have to keep an eye on that. I don't see any chat, y'all. It looks like you're back. I think we're good. Okay. Oh, too many problems, guys. Huge problems. Alright, that's good. So, we've got our little tracing paper image. And we're just going to use... usually I use... A lot of times, I use chalk pencils on the back of the tracing paper, and that's just like a General's pastel chalk pencil, because a lot of times I need different colors to show. But you can use graphite paper, just normal graphite paper. Let's see if I can find it. I have it in white. This one's Royal Nickel graphite paper in white, which I think I got that one online. And then I have also a gray one, which is, I got this one at Hobby Lobby. It's interesting. They use the same flower image. Never noticed that. Funny. So either of these will work. I don't think the white will show up on this well enough, so I'm either going to do chalk pencil or I'm going to do this graphite. I think I'm going to use chalk pencil. Both will work. The problem with the graphite, sometimes if you're a little bit tacky, it tends to stick and you can't see what you're doing because you can't see through it. But it works, and I do use it a lot. But I think today I'm just going to go with this black chalk pencil. I get these off Amazon. I buy the whole package. Let me see if I can find it. Here it is. I buy this one because it gives me all the different colors. I'm pretty sure it's on my favorites list, guys. I'm trying to see. I'm waiting for it to show up. Yes, okay. I'm on screen. But you can also get white and black typically at your hobby stores, your paint stores, things like that. But sometimes in the sewing, you can find these. But all you do, take it, turn it over so you're on the back, and just go over your image. Okay? And just wherever you want. For right now, I'm not worrying about all this detail. I really just need the outline for right now. Because we paint in layers. So I'm just going to get the outline of this tree branch, whatever it is, and his little feet. I don't even need his feet there yet because I'll paint over them. But I'll get his little, his legs. And just his body. That's really all I need for right now. And the nice thing about this, I've cut it to size, so it fits this exactly. It helps when I'm lining it back up if I have to put it back on for like the detail or his feet or the eye or whatever. Okay, so by cutting it to size, it makes it a little easier to line up. And I usually just make sure it fits fairly accurately. And then I'm going to tape it in place. If I can get this tape to work. I haven't used my tape in forever either, hardly. Sometimes this will rip tracing paper, but I find that my mint tape that I use sometimes isn't really strong enough. This mint tape. It's not really strong enough, so I have to use this, but you just have to peel it off slow. So find your edges wherever you've made sure this fits properly. And we're just going to very carefully tack this down. It doesn't have to be, perfect. Just enough to hold it in place. Okay. And now you just need a stylus. You could use a pen, but I prefer a stylus. A stylus is this type of thing. I actually prefer my Fiskars if I can find it. This one I got at Dollar Tree, and then I have this Fiskars one. Why do I like the Fiskars more? I have no idea. For one thing, the ball size is better on my Fiskars, but you might can find these, Cricut sells them too. But see the ball size difference? So there's that side, and then there's that side. And I don't like to use the teeny tiny one because it's just too sharp and it cuts into your image. And then the bigger one, this one is too big. So that's why I like this Fiskars one, because I like that size. Honestly, that's really all. That's the only reason. So And we just trace the outline. It's like I said, right now we're just doing the outline because we're going to paint our first base coat in there. It's very noisy today. I can hear cars and stuff in the background. And you can double check it's going through. I usually don't have an issue. You can kind of just lift up an edge and it's going through fine. This little toe there. And there are what I call purists out there that will get mad at you for tracing. Ignore them. It does not matter. You do what you like, and if maybe you can't draw as good as you can paint, and that's perfectly fine. I do not have an issue with tracing. I am doing this for my enjoyment, and that's all that matters. You know, when I was learning to draw and paint, yes, I learned to draw. And I can draw. I've done lots of line art drawings. But, like I said, I don't need his eye yet. This part for me, I might put just a little fraction of it. I don't think I need it, but sometimes it helps to know where things are when you're shading. So I'll put his little beak and his eye in there. It doesn't matter. Just, if you want to trace. Use a projector. Whatever it takes, guys. Get your image on there. Just make sure we got all of it. See how it's sticking? It's because my paint's a little bit tacky. I think that's good enough. I can see it. Alright, so there's our image outline. And it's a little more fuzzy and chalky than the graphite paper. But I like that kind of because the paint kind of just dissolves it and it goes away. So I don't have to worry so much about it showing. So I just peeled that off without ripping it. You just go slow. And I'll save these 2 pieces of tape for later. Okay, let's see. Hey, Kim. See if anybody else is on here new. See, Jimmy Lou stepped in for a moment. Not sure if she's still here. Sometimes it shows people who are on my list if they pop in or not. All right, so we're going to start with our base coat. So what you want to do is you want to get your image. I want to look at both. I might actually grab the bigger one. I've got this bigger image. I have it taped in front of me. So you just want to kind of look at it and decide what is underneath all this, okay? And you want to work from dark to light and from back forward. So I'm looking to see, you know, what kind of colors are under here. And I'm seeing a lot of kind of a raw umber, burnt umber kind of look. That's burnt umber. It's a little on the brown side. This is probably closer to the raw umber that we used earlier. I don't have a lot of that, but it's that one. You can also just mix a little more black into your burnt umber and get the same kind of shade. But I'm seeing a lot of that dark here. You just want to go, I don't know, you can go pretty dark. It doesn't really matter because acrylics you can paint on top of them and it doesn't really matter. So I'll probably do these areas in that, even this area. Now this area with the reds, I might go, you can still see some dark in there, which I do want to peek through. I might actually do the whole thing in like a burnt umber and then just darken certain areas. I think that's what I'm going to go for with this one. You don't want to do like white because if you look at these little feathers, I don't know if you can see, do you see how there's little dark specks poking through there? you want those to come through, so, because it gives that depth. So I'm going to start with just a whole overall wash of burnt umber. We'll go with that. I might mix a little raw umber or black in there. I don't know. We'll see. And this is pretty much the same. This actually has a little more of this burnt umber look for sure than that copy paper. See, the color's not great there. So I should be going from that, which is definitely more burnt umber. So if you're ever not sure, you can always just, pull up references of other, pictures online and look at those on your computer screen or something, your monitor. It will help you for sure. Burnt umber is definitely a good color to have on hand, guys, because it's just a great all-around color. So, something to keep in mind when you're painting a bird or an animal, for the most part. Some other things that comes into play like wood, but when you're painting something with a texture or a direction, you want to always do that direction, because if you don't, later on it will show. Your brush strokes continue to show. So as I'm doing these things, I'm thinking about, what direction are these feathers going? And, do I need to worry about that in that area? So these, although this is a very blurry little picture there, but I know that the feathers are going, this direction for the most part. They do go outward in here, but for the most part, if I keep my direction this way, I don't want to go this way, because it's just going to look weird at the end. And here, I definitely want the strokes to go the way the feathers would naturally fall. Okay, I know this is only a half picture, but I'm going to try to do it again later. I just got too frustrated and quit. I'll put a little bit of this raw umber down here. It's very dry. It's probably, honestly, it's probably 5 years old at least. I've had a lot of these paints for a long time. So for this, I'm going to use a small brush. I think I will just go with this one. This is a very small picture, like I said, so you don't want to go too big because I need to be able to get into these spaces. So this little round, this is just a Royal Langnickel number 6. It's a filbert, which means it just has a curved edge. What brush you use doesn't really matter that much. It's more what you're comfortable with. Okay. I'm going to spritz my paint with some water. I want to keep it wet. And I'm going to zoom in for y'all just a little bit. Let's see if I can get it to zoom and stay where I need it to stay. I have to come over. My iPad's always off to the right there. All right, does that look good? I think that looks good. Okay. So we'll start out with this burnt umber. Like I said, we're just going to lay this down. Now, I'm not going to go exactly to that edge because it's probably a little fat. So I'm just going to try to stay on the inside of it. This might be too big. We'll try it. And just get this base coat down. It's just a base coat, so don't freak out about it. Like I said, the most important thing, I think, in my personal opinion, is direction. So I'm going to try to keep my direction right at least. Okay, I went a little bit outside the line there. Paint is pretty forgiving at this point. If you mess up, just wipe it off. Probably don't have enough down. Now, if you start painting on something and as you're painting, you notice it's picking up or getting lighter, it's because it's drying on you. And you'll have to wait and dry it and then do another layer. All right, let me see if I got a picture I can go from. Here's one. Is that wet? No. So we got our direction here with this wings. I didn't put the lines there, but I can kind of see where they are. Just laying a coat of this down. And let's see, our feathers kind of go, so they kind of go this way here, and then they turn. So, you know, just like kind of like this. And you can kind of see how they start turning toward the inside there. Same thing down here. And I like to let it leave a little texture. So I'm not trying to make really flat strokes, I guess you would call it. I'm trying to let it raise up just, you know, a tiny bit. Honestly, because you'd be surprised. People look at these things when I'm done, and because they are realistic, a lot of times I get accused of them not being real. And they'll be like, that's just a print. I'm like, no, I painted it. And it's like, so by leaving the paint make a little bit of texture, it just helps make it look, you know, like what it is. It's paint. Sometimes I tend to be a little bit frugal on my paints, so I get a little thin. The beak has got a lot of white, but that's okay. We're just going to start out with this undercolor anyway. Try not to get too much into that point because I want to keep it sharp. I'll try not to mess it up. I have a wet thingy somewhere. Hold on. I went outside the line. Alright. Try that again. This brush is almost too big, but I can make it work. It is so small. And I started small because honestly I haven't painted in so long. I was a little worried about going big. So we're going small. I don't know if I'm worried about this eye. You know what? I'll tell you what I'll do. I will go ahead and get me a little teeny brush. I'm going to go with this little Royal Nickel 10/0. I'm going to grab some of this raw umber. This isn't absolutely necessary, but I've already got the eye there, so I'm just going to kind of keep where it is if I can get this wet enough. Goodness, this paint is so dry, guys. It's crazy dry. I probably need to throw it out and buy a new tube, honestly. So I'm just going to paint this little pupil in there. And I'm staying inside that because I don't want it to get too big. But I kind of want to keep an idea of where it is just because it'll help me. All right, so we'll keep that there. And I'm going to put a little bit of this raw umber in these tail feathers because they're so much darker. Most of this is dried already. Oh my gosh, I cannot. Yeah, I think it's definitely time to buy more paint. Can't tell if I'm outside the line there. It almost looks like it. Hold on. Where did that rag go? I'm going to probably hit my tree branch, but that's okay. Like I said, acrylic's very forgiving. I feel like I went outside the line. I'm trying to use a brush that's too big. All right, that's closer. A little bit of that dark in there. I don't like to use black because it's just not a good idea. It's not a good idea to use black too much. You should use colors. Even if you just mix a little brown in it, it makes a big difference. There's like a really dark area right here. I want to make sure that I keep that nice and dark. I'm just going to go in there and probably through here, just on that edge. If I can get this to work. Oh my goodness, paint. Quit fighting me. Paint does not last forever, contrary to my belief. I have no idea if that's in the right spot, but it doesn't really matter because I can always adjust later. There's a little dark spot over here on the... Oh, you can't see that. There's a little dark spot right here. I'm just going to make sure I get that. So I'm just, looking at my reference, seeing where colors are, where I might need it to be nice and dark. I'll put a little bit there under his beak. And I think I'm going to jump back to the other color. Although in this white area, it does look pretty dark back there. So I might go ahead and put the raw umber in there. Although it's going to probably make me not be able to see my eyeball very well. I might just leave a little line around the eyeball there so I can still see it. Oh my gosh, brush. It's dry. It's like 79 in here today. It's too hot. And that's my fault. I didn't turn the air on. Alright, I'll just put a little bit of that dark under there. You can always fine tune it later, but I'm just going to add some because it'll come through. That should be enough. Any on the edge? There is a really dark edge on this bird. I feel like his head's a weird shape there, but I don't know. I don't know if it's me. I think it's just me. Oh. If it starts splitting, you don't have enough water. All right, let me try and fix this shape. I think I'm a little off. I think about like that. Yeah, I think that's closer. Okay, let me wash that out. Jump back to my other brush. And we'll just finish up. Kind of sort of in that direction. Looks like it goes to the right. Just right there under his eye. And then it goes pretty much just downward stroke over here. It's a pretty good base coat. And then we need those little legs. Can y'all see good enough? It's so hard for me to zoom too close because I bump my tripod and it goes in and out of focus too much. Here, I'll just pull it up for a second. Make sure you can see. So that's kind of what we're starting with. Kind of looks like a little brown birdie now. We're going to do his little legs. All right, make sure I'm in the right spot. Good. Hopefully I'm not going out of focus. Alright, I'm going to go back to my little 10-0. We'll try to use this raw umber if I can. You know what I'm going to do? I'm going to try and wet it because it's just fighting me too much. Just squish it down and get it to blend. I think I'll have to take the trip to the store and get some more raw umber. Probably some Liquitex if I can find it. The two Goldens that I have are very old. They're just some that I had a long time ago. They're probably older than 5 years. I know the Liquitex is most of it's about anywhere from 3 to 5 years. But the Golden's probably older. Paint gets chunky as it gets too old. His leg is really white right there, but I'm going to go ahead and put this there anyway because, like I said, undertones and all that. The white will go over it. You don't have to worry about that because it's acrylic and that's how it works. You can layer over it. Now his legs are very skinny and this is very small. So I'm going to try not to get them too big. It's the only issue with painting something this small. It is sometimes hard to keep them in the right size. I think we'll be okay. And then this leg, I think I've got it traced a little on the large side, so I'm going to thin that down just a fraction. I feel like it's a little too fat. Oh, some of that is chalk. You can't really see it, but just trust me. There's some chalk line there. It's kind of throwing me off, honestly. I might dry it so that I can erase that chalk. I'm just going to do this outline of this tree in, that's pretty dark. Look at this one. Yeah, I'd say that's definitely like a very dark, blackish burnt umber for sure. And I've got his little toe right there. It's a nice thing about having this big picture. You can see his little toe sticks up there. Something like that. So yeah, I'll probably just paint that whole thing with this raw umber. I might add a touch of black to it. I don't know if it's dark enough. It's pretty dark. We'll add a touch of black. Not much, if I can find my black. Oh, where is my black? What? Huh. Did you move it? Well, it's not laid out. Okay. Let me look at my box. For some reason, I didn't lay it out. Green, purple, lots of browns. Aha, there it is. I found it. Okay, there we go. Mars Black, that's what I'm using. I knew I had some. It's just a drop on there. We really don't need much. Very little to darken this up. But I do want to, I might even throw some of that brown in there. I'm just going to make a very, very dark mixture of those. So it's not true black, but it's very dark. Where's that white? There it is. Okay, that should be good. This is going to be too small, but I'm going to go ahead and just do this edge. Does this toe come all the way down? It does. Oops. Oh well. Alright, I can't use it. Too small. Let me go back to my other brush. Alright. So it's a wood grain that does go this direction, so I am definitely going to go this direction, so it gives it lots of texture. Try not to go over my line. I paint the sides later, so don't worry about paint getting on it. I know that seems very dark, but that's just the way it works. It's very dark to start with. Okay. little spot there I missed. Don't ask me why. I'm going to go ahead and throw some burn umber in there, though. Not sure why I missed that spot. Normally I wouldn't paint from the top down, but I'm trying to get my arm out of the way. There. Okay. That is a good first coat for sure. Wash everything out. All right, we're going to dry that. I might actually move some of this paint first. So I'm going to pull this up here, pull this here, and take away this. I just need more space because I'm working in such a small space on camera. I have to have the space. Sorry if it's squeaky. All right, there. Now move that aside while I dry this. Pain on my fingers. All right, here comes the blow dryer again. So I think next I'm going to, I want to figure out where the things like the beak and the eye and everything is. So I'm going to grab my chalk, and so now it's dark. So now I have to, I'm just going to wipe off some of this with a dry rag. You can also erase it, but erasing these tracing papers, they tend to tear. So you have to be very gentle. So usually you can just kind of wipe it off. Just enough. And then I'm going to use a white chalk pencil, which is almost down to nothing. So now I need to get, I've already really got where the eye is. I'm just going to concentrate on the middle of the beak there, and where this changeover for the feathers goes. Maybe I've got a couple like details on, you know, like in here, or, you know, just where these changes are is what I put in there. So anything where I need to get that detail. It's not a lot, honestly. And we don't want to do his feet yet because I still got to paint the log, which I'll probably do next, honestly. I'm confused, sorry. I don't really need much more. Pretty much everything else is just the basic red area. So we'll just do those two spots. I'll do the, I guess, this little wing spot and this little leg spot. I think that'll be enough. Okay, so I'm going to stick this back and try to get it in the same spot that it was. Usually if you have cut it to size, it's pretty easy to do. looks pretty close. If it's a little off, I can fix it. It's not a big deal. And then get my stylus. So I just want to mark that little transition there. This little transition. These are just guidelines. And where this beak is. The underneath part. And then I'm kind of loosely do about where it ends. I'm not worried about the eye. I think I can figure that out. Is that it? Oh, the leg. I was going to do this little leg spot. There. Okay. Guideline. Let me see if I can gently get this off again. Okay. So let me go ahead and do the log. I don't know what it is. It looks too big for a tree branch. I think it's supposed to be like a ground log or something. So for that we need, let's see, where's my actual picture? I lost it. Oh, there it is. I'll go by this because it's better color. So definitely some off-whites, warmer browns in there. So we'll start with these warmer browns. So for that, I think I will go with probably the same burnt umber, which I've got, and then a little bit of maybe, let's mix in some raw sienna and see what that does. I'm not 100% sure. It might be too yellow. We'll try it. Let's see what it does. I'm just gonna put, if I can get it to come out of the thing without making a mess. Am I in camera? I can't tell. I think I am. Alright. I want to just test that and see what it looks like. Just gonna grab color with that, a little bit of this. See what that looks like. Yeah. This is a little red, but like I said, I think there's some red in here that's a little off because probably fixing and such. I don't think there's that much red in the wood. 99% sure there's not. And, you know, it's my painting. It doesn't matter, really. I can do it however I want. Which brush? Probably just go with the same one. I've been using this little round one. This little filbert. Although I could switch to a round. Do I have a small round? Let me see if I have one. Well, I do. It's just finding it. What do you got? What's this? No, that's too small. What's that one? A little busty, bushy round. We'll put it here. Well, if I can't get this to work, I'll use that. Wet that. All right, I like that color fine. I'm gonna mix a little bit more of it. I know it's a little bit different. Like I said, I'm not going to go quite that red. I just don't think it's right. And then I'm just guessing. We're just going to kind of throw some lines through here. Just texture something that looks like a log. Tree branch, log, whatever it is. Just going to add some of this color here and there. And then, honestly, that's really all it needs. We'll go with this lighter color. I don't know though, this too, it's pretty yellow. I'll put a little of it. Let's see what it looks like. Yeah, it's pretty yellow. It's throwing me off. I should have tried to get a better color picture, but I didn't. So we're just going to go for it. fraction too fat, this brush. All right, let me think. What other color could I try? Let's see. We have, what is this one? Raw sienna. What have I been using? Burnt sienna? I think that's the same. It is. They're both raw sienna. Okay. It's not that one. We have transparent raw sienna. Nope. We have yellow oxide. Yellow hue. Naples yellow hue. Maybe a Naples yellow hue. Let's try a little bit of that. I'm going to go try this brush. See if it works. So let's mix this in with this first. I'm just trying to give me variations. Just a little bit. I'm just going to put some lines. This isn't like the detail yet. It's just colors underneath. A little bit up here. Wow, you did a really great job of rolling that. No, it doesn't look like the picture. Don't worry about it. It doesn't matter. Okay, that's okay. And then I guess I'm gonna have to jump into the white. It's an off-white. It's really like a vintage white, but I don't have that in paint. I have unbleached titanium. Probably the closest to that I have. So that's unbleached titanium. I don't want to go white yet, so I'm trying to go slow with my changes. So let's see. A lot of that through here. You can pretty much see it's pretty much that color. And only a little of this shows. I might use a palette knife, guys. I can do it with a brush, but it's so much easier with a palette knife. We'll try to do it with the brush. I'm very lightly touching. Can you see? I can try to zoom a little more. It's so hard to zoom and not get out of focus. So I'm just kind of skimming this. Very, very, very light touch. I just want to kind of start skimming this color over the top. Trying to use the edge some. You can also use a palette knife edge, but that's pretty much a one and done. I can play with it a little carefuler this way. The idea is not to get rid of all that black. Try to keep enough of that showing through, but get that texture. The feet will be over the top of this too. There's like, oh, that's his toe. Okay. There's like a dark spot in there, but I might add it back if I lose too much of it. It's hard to do with this brush. I mean, it's not crazy hard, but a little hard. But you get the idea. kind of dark right there. I like that dark in there. So you can start seeing it look a little more like wood. This is drying super fast, so I can kind of just add layers. And I'm going to add some white to this. Okay, let's add a little bit of white. Where's the white at? I'm going to go with the heavy body instead of the basic though. So I've got two whites. I have this heavy body and then I've got the basics. This will give me a little more texture. So I'm going to go with it. If I can open it. I haven't opened it in too long. There. Okay. A little bit of white. I don't want to go quite that much all at once, so I'm going to mix it. So first we'll mix some of this with some of this unbleached titanium. Doesn't even have to be mixed perfectly. I could use this palette and try a little, see what happens. It's hard to do. It's harder to control on a small area like this. When you're on a whole big canvas, it's not so bad, but a little bitty piece like this, it's harder to use a palette knife because it's harder. You don't have room to do a lot of control with it. But I'll add a little. I'm pushing very, very light. All right, just a little. It's interesting. I like it. Okay, we'll go back to this. And there's a lot of white in this area, so we can go a little heavier here. Just trying not to lose all of it. See if I can use the point. I do not want to lose all of that lovely dark in there. So I'm being extra careful. And I may do the palette knife again with just some, like a pure white to kind of add just some little bit of fine detail. Trying to get some of these, there's like, sorry, you can't see this picture. There's like some variations right here that are pretty like line, you know, more liney. I'm gonna try to get a little more of that. It might have to be wetter, just a fraction. Okay. Okay, so I'm just gonna try to get somewhere about where his foot is gonna be. Yeah, it doesn't wanna do it for me. If you're painting on a bigger scale, this is so much easier, guys. So honestly, sometimes it's easier to paint big. What time is it? 10:20. Okay. I was hoping I could do this in maybe 2 settings. I've done them in one, but I'm trying not to go that long. It makes for uploading it to YouTube difficult. So I'm just adding a little bit of more structure lines. I do want to make sure that it's somewhat white behind where his feet are because they'll show up better. If it's too dark there, they won't show up. All right, let's jump into some white. Get this almost white. Add some more color. So we're just gonna, like I said, this area is pretty blown out on his picture, so we'll try to, oops, that's too much. Hold on. Let's see if I can lightly take that off. Where's my water? There it is. And a little bit there. But the very, very white against the very, very dark will make it, it'll give it depth. Especially on like an edge, basically. I don't know where the foot's going to be there, but probably right there. Kind of lost a little more dark there than I wanted, but I'll put it back in. Try to keep that spot there. I'm going to try to keep a lot of this. All right, is it looking like a limb? I guess it looks like a limb. It looks rough anyway. I'm going to add just, I want one little dark spot, so I'm going to jump into this dark color again. Pretty dark. Not black, but close. I just want to add back a little bit of depth here and there. Oops, too much paint. And then right here I lost a lot. I'm just going to try and add back some of that depth. So anywhere that I feel like I lost too much, I can throw a couple of dark lines in there. It's easy to lose too much when you're doing it this way, honestly. There's something going on over here that's a little more. I'm going to raise that up just a fraction. Put a little knot there. Just a little bit of light in it. So I like the look of it there. Okay. And maybe here. Just trying to get that really dark spot underneath some of these white spots. Like I said, it makes it have depth. I think we're pretty good. I might go a little whiter in some spots where his feet are. But that's not too bad. Nice dark areas and nice light areas. I think we're okay. Okay. So let's jump into almost a pure white. Maybe with the palette. I don't know. I'm afraid to try the palette, guys. I'm afraid I'll mess the whole thing up and have to do it again. I'll try my brush. Not the best way to do it, but just try the side of it. Let's see if I can get it to very lightly just highlight some of these spots. I think up in here too. It's very, very light. Yeah, like that. Right there. he's crying. He's up while I'm painting. And I'm sure none too happy. A bit light there. I know I spend a lot of time on stuff like this, but I am a realism painter. So that's just how it is. I think I like that. By the time I get his feet in there, it won't be, you know, you won't be just looking at it. So I think it's light enough his feet should show. All right, so that's good. We have to let that dry, so I'll jump over to his body real quick. We'll just do a coat of this lighter brown. So there's definitely a lighter color where his tail is here. Let me zoom back out just a fraction. So you can't see my reference. So there's a lighter spot there. And then a couple other spots, which I can't see on this picture, but stick that one there. I really got to try to get a whole picture in the right colors. All right, so that's pretty much this light brown, which is pretty much burnt umber, maybe with a little bit of unbleached titanium. Let's see. How does that look? Yeah, that's not bad. All right, so burnt umber, a little bit of unbleached titanium. I could probably go with, I don't know, I wouldn't go with the raw sienna because honestly it's just too yellow. I don't want it that yellow. All right, so we're just gonna put this here. Oh, I was gonna erase that black. Where was it? On his foot? I probably still got paint. I can't do it, so I'll leave it for now. I'm gonna add a little of this. It's honestly, it needs to be just a fraction yellower. Not much. I'm trying to match that color. I'm gonna add a little of this. I don't know what it is, raw sienna or something. I think it was raw sienna. Just trying to get that top edge. Yeah, I don't like it. It's not the right color. Let me try that again. I think I went too much in with it. The unbleached titanium. Let's try the burnt. Get the little spot out there. The burnt umber. Umber? Let me look. I have an awful time with names, guys. Burnt umber, I think. Yes. Burnt umber and is that raw sienna? Yeah, I think it's raw sienna. We're gonna try these two. Okay. Let's try that. God, this brush is having a hard time, this tiny spot. I'm trying to get it to blend into the end of this feather. It's trying to get too big on me. So there's a transition there. I can't quite do it yet, though. It needs more black right there, but this is too big. Where's my little brush? Oh, it's over there. Okay, I'll switch in a minute. All right, more of this color. That's working pretty good with those two. So the burnt and the raw sienna seems to be good for this lighter color. So there's some through here. How high does that go? I feel like it goes a little higher. Just a bit. Can't tell from that picture. We're just gonna put some where the belly is. So like these little spots. I'm kind of blob some in there for now. I'm not ready to get too detailed with it. All right, that's good. And then I want to separate those. So I'll make the top one a little bit lighter, just to separate this section if it works. Try that. Can you see the difference? Kinda, sorta. So that little spot kind of comes over a little more there. That should be about right. What about the beak? I think I'll just add some, I could probably add white. Let me try it. I don't know if it's going to go too brown. I want it to be a light gray. That's actually not too bad. Okay. You can't quite see that. I can't move my palette up, so either I zoom out or I clean off my palette again. This is going to be way too big of a brush. I'm mixing with my brush again, which is a no-no. You're not really supposed to do that. It tends to mess up your bristles. Okay. All right, where's my other brush? There it is. Go back to this 10-0. And is this the color? Yes. It's definitely not wet enough. There. I'm just going to color in this beak and try and leave the line between. Wow, that's small. This is my smallest brush, so I'm killing myself here. Oh, it almost blends into that background. I guess it does on the picture too. So, I guess that's all right. I might have to darken that beak in a couple spots though. I'll have to do it after because it's just too small. I don't have anything smaller than a 10-0. That's the smallest detail brush I have. We're just going to go ahead and put this gray on here. It's kind of a brownish gray. Looks too fat. I'm going to darken the edge under there. I think I got too fat. It's easy to do when you're too small. Let's see. Don't want to lose that little tip. Right, that's good. Keeping that separation too. I feel like, I don't know. Anyway, I'm going to take some of the same color and go around this eye a little. I didn't roll it. You got to roll it when you pick up, or you don't have a point. I'm just going to put some, ooh, that's way too wet. Too wet. Hold on. If it's too wet, it especially on such a small piece, it spreads out too much. So I'm just going to put some dots around this eyeball to kind of start separating it. I'm just touching. Where does that end? We'll say about here. Looks like about there. I'm barely touching it. I'll build it. This is just kind of going to be a guideline. Like I say, it comes up to the point on this beak. About there. And then just below. About here. Just a little bit. And just above the line on the beak. Like I said, just literally just kind of dabbing and dotting, not really thinking too hard about it. Alright, that's good, I think. It just kind of lets me know where that is. There's also a light spot right here, which we'll just kind of start hinting at. Kind of goes, I think, here. And maybe up here. This is mostly a guide for later. So I don't lose that spot. We'll put that there. Alright. And then we've got separation for the feathers here. Just adding a little bit of that. So there's two. There's one here too. Yeah, something like that. So over there. And there. And then there's a bunch of white. Kind of here. Just a guideline. I might go ahead and do his little feet, although I was going to try to get rid of that chalk. It should be dry now. Do I have something closer to that? See, it's so much different on the hair. The color's so much different, guys. It's really brown there. If I add a little more of the sienna. Was it this pile? No, it was this pile, which is dry. Of course it's dry. Alright. Water. Maybe. It's just not light enough. It really needs to lighten up there. Good. Kind of, sort of. Alright, I need to add that dark back because I totally lost the shape of that. We'll go with some black and some burnt umber. Dry off my ferrule because it's getting too wet. So this shape got weird on me. I'll move this way just a fraction. So it really goes more upward. Yeah, like that. That's better. And there's two separations here. And then the other one comes around that, but I'm going to darken that first. Where'd that color go? Oh, there it is. So we got this part where this feather comes in. Oh, man, guys, I made this so small. I knew it would be small, but I never really think about it until I actually start painting. And I'm like, oops, what'd you do? You went a little bit small. Your brushes are not that small. Okay, and then I want that brownish color there. Here, maybe. Go with a little more of the sienna. Watch your ferrule. Water runs down your ferrule. It messes everything up. So when you rinse your brush, just watch that. It will definitely drip on everything and mess it up. that's okay. That'll wipe off later. Okay. A little bit lighter. And I might add a little red to this later. I don't know if it's supposed to be there or not. Maybe it is. Maybe it's just the picture. Can't tell for sure. My edge is very crooked because of the chalk line. Tummy is a gurgling. Oh my goodness, I cannot see that. I'm too blind for this. Only reading glass wise. Normally I can see fine, but up close, it is starting to get to be a challenge as I age. Why can't I get that to go smooth? Try it again. I got a bit of a bump there. I'm trying to get it smooth. Come on, quit fighting me. Nope. Try a different direction. Once I get this chalk off here, it'll be better to tell. Right now, it's hard to see my edge. If I've got it smooth or not. I don't think I do. But we'll come back to that. Okay, what time is it? Almost 11:15. Or almost 11. Right. I could do this white on his feet, maybe. We'll go with the unbleached titanium. I'm not going to go pure white yet. If I can get it. It's done dried on me, guys. Seriously. Alright, wet back up. I need you wet. Come on. I'm trying to get some of it there. It doesn't want to come. Alright, let's try to get his little leg. It's an odd spot. It looks weird right there. I don't know why. We'll go just up into the body, just a fraction. I don't think I'm gonna go that wide. And it comes longer on this side. Wow, that's hard to do. You guys are probably like, yeah, I'm not doing that. That's too tiny. I don't blame you. Don't try to paint this small. It will frustrate you. Like I said, I just had this piece of wood and I was just like, you know what? I think it's going to be cute. It's the only reason I'm doing it this tiny. I used to do all my birds. When I first started painting these birds, I was doing them all so very small. And it just got to be too difficult. I cannot get that leg in there. I'm trying to get this point. I'll have to add it back in with black. That's fine. Alright. And I might dry it. I don't think I can add his feet. I'll probably wait to make sure it's really dry before I try to trace that on there. But maybe I'll add just a little bit of white. I just really want the spot where his feet are to show up good. I also don't want it so bumpy that I can't work with it. I think they come down about there. I think it comes over that, but I'm not 100% sure. Where is my tracing? Let me see. Does it? comes over that black spot, so that's good. Okay. That's what it was supposed to do. Somewhat a little white under that. Okay. And that's the toe. Let's get some white under there just to make sure it shows up good. I'm just adding this light just because it's going to help me see his feet. Come on, tell me to quit gurgling. A lot of that will be gone. I'm okay with that. I may add a little more darker colors on these edges later, but I'm not going to do it now because it's going to depend on where the feet are and stuff, I think. I'll put back a little bit of this so it can be drying. Oops, that didn't work. I thought I had paint on there. No, find a wet spot. Up there's one. Where is it? There. Just want a little bit of that texture back in there. I lost too much of it. This is a fairly wetted version just to kind of get that color back in there. Sounds like the cars are just out there racing tonight. That's better. A little bit of dark. Where was it? I saw it. I lost it. Oh, right here. Just a little spot right there to give me some depth. Those dark spots are so important because if you lose them, you really lose all that depth. And they have to be like really sharp on one edge to make it work. If it's really sharp against the white, it gives you that look of a edge. I'll pull this up and show you in a second. Just kind of work on this edge there. Okay, I like it. And I got that depth back in there. It was going away. But we're going to call it quits there, so let me wash that brush, and I'll pull that up and show you what I mean. I'm going to zoom out first because it's too hard to do it that way. Okay. Get my light up here. Okay, so you see how having the dark edge there, it just gives you that depth that you need to make it look more like a log. I'm trying to get the color to show without the glare. Okay, so that's looking very loggish. And he's coming along. He'll look better next week. So I'll probably do him Friday because I don't have a, honestly guys, I haven't figured out what I'm going to do for a junk journal yet. So we'll probably work on him Friday instead of a junk journal. So we're going to call it quits at that point because I think it's a good stopping point. And work on them some more on Friday. So Friday, 9 o'clock, same as usual. And if you all have something you really want to see in the junk journal, things I have a ton of Tim Holtz papers that I'm trying not to buy supplies, guys. So I have a ton of Tim Holtz papers, and I have I probably have a decent amount of florals and nature type stuff as far as ephemera and stuff. So I was thinking, you know, flora, fauna, botanical, something like that maybe for a junk journal. Anyway, y'all, please message me and just tell me some of your likes, and we'll go from there. All right, guys. All right, have a wonderful rest of your evening. I'm going to go eat some dinner, and I will chat with y'all later. All right, bye-bye.